absolutely amazing music here on CCFM. That was Elevation Worship, a song titled Trust in God. Thanks for putting me on, family. Before that, we also gave you Neville D. Niverdinge, and then also had Philippine coming through as well with Laat ons opgaan, and New Birth coming through with Put Your Trust. And we kickstarted off that top of the hour there with Charisma Hanekom as well with Kom ons lua fno die Heer. Taking us to 1627 Central African time. If you've just tuned in and just joined us, we want to say thank you so much. Welcome home. We're going to be kicking it off with you and walking with you all the way till 6 p.m. For now, though, if you're familiar with the program, you know more or less around about this time, we invite Tina to come through, or rather, should I say, talk time with Tina. And we chat about, matters that affect us as individuals here on the program.
Absolutely. And today's conversation, of course, is in line with our theme for the month of May. Now, we've just celebrated Mother's Day, where we, honor our mothers. And I always say Mother's Day shouldn't just be a one-day event. I think we should be honoring mothers and the role that they play on a daily basis. And so, as you would have heard, we had different mothers on the program chat to us about their journey, chat to us about their experiences. And so today we are touching on single mothers in particular. And in no way is this disregarding, men, but it's just, again, focusing on the role that mothers play, particularly one that has to do it alone for whatever reason. And so we ask and pray that you receive this conversation. We ask that it lands. We ask that you have a bit of grace for the stories and sort of the experiences that will be shared this afternoon. Have a look at our YouTube and our Facebook pages. We are live. It's also special today because we are joined by Janine Liederman, and she's also going to be sharing her experience. Just before I sort of do the greeting and welcome our guest, I say beautiful guest today because we've got an additional guest, eh?
Yes.
Please do log on to Facebook and YouTube and watch us. We are live. The WhatsApp number, of course, 0617981075. As always, it's not just amongst ourselves, but I think we are inviting you to join in on the conversation this afternoon.
Absolutely. I love the messages that have already come through. Of course, send through the messages there. Before we greet our main host, Lady Tina, let's switch over and just say hi to Janine. Janine, hi, how are you doing?
Good afternoon. I'm well, thank you. How's everyone doing?
We are doing great. Thank you so much for honoring this invite and joining us telephonically, or rather through the video where you are. Crossing over. Beautiful. Crossing over, going to Tina. How are you doing?
Oh, can I speak now?
Yes, you may.
No, I am good, thank you. My day was made when I heard you say a lot of Afrikaans titles.
Did you see how he went fast with the other one?
Yes, he said Nuwe Dinge,
Yes.
and then he was a little bit tongue-tied, but you done very well.
No,
so
yeah,
my Tuesday has been made, Romeo.
Ek probeer, man.
I was going to call him out and make fun of him. But
That's
I
why
was like,
I'm
no.
here. That's why I'm here.
There
So
we go.
you guys can still continue your radio-ness here behind the scenes, eh?
Oh, man.
Meneer Cupido, how are you?
Oh, meneer.
Yeah, it's just coming out. Eh? No, I'm all good, man. Good to see you guys.
Yeah. Guys, this conversation, and we're going to jump straight to Janine. Janine, hi. Now, you can't see me, but I can see you. I hope your Tuesday is going well.
Oh, good. It's been very, very good. Just been crazy busy, but been a good day.
Yeah. Janine, just on the topic of, single motherhood, I mean, you and I can share a similar sort of story with a similar context, but I think to start it off, what would you say, or rather, how has your experience been in terms of being a single mother? Obviously not sharing everything, but just some context.
Yeah, so I'm a mom of a 16-year-old boy, a very handsome 16-year-old boy. And I think for myself, the experience of being married before and then obviously going through a divorce, it made me become a mom of a boy, of just, having to look after him and having to do the very best that I can for myself. And just as a mom, you want the best for your children, so you go the extra mile. I mean, all moms in general, but when you when you kind of allude to being separated from your partner, then you have to find ways of trying to figure things out on your own and not have that support in that aspect. So
Sure.
that led me to be able to kind of just go through the process of trying to figure things out on my own without having that support structure of a partner that is with me all the time, every single day.
Yeah, I think I was saying to Tina off air, Janine, and I suppose Tina can add in as well. No one really sort of wakes up and plans to be a single mother. I think for me, even just the pregnancy in itself, it was already planned, but there were talks of a promise that was made. Yes, that would happen, but ultimately the promise was, I'm going to marry you, I'm going to be present, I'm going to, be the father and the husband that you need me to be. And I think when that doesn't happen, not only are you dealing with a heartbreak, but you're also dealing and having to navigate, now raising this human on your own, right?
No, definitely. I think you, as you said, the promises that comes with it, and you picture this life with a full family. You picture the life with having to, being every aspect of what you require in the relationship and even in the family. So having that support is, I think, the biggest thing for me is the support aspect. And as I said, like I had to make a decision with regards to stepping out of my marriage. And that for me was a difficult decision to make. It wasn't very easy, and having to just think about, as a mom, what am I doing for my child? How am I doing this as it grows up? And what am I taking away from my child? What am I? There's so many aspects that you have, so many different questions you have related to, you being the mom and having to step into what you're doing for your child. How you to kind of give them everything that they need and everything they want with you solely alone, trying to figure that out. And it's a difficult place to be. And then you have to navigate around being a mom and your emotions on top of it as well, going through the whole break, going through trying to survive, and also having to be okay so that your child doesn't kind of pick up on your emotions in that regard as well.
One thing I want to add as well, thanks Janine, is that again, with my experience, it's so funny because I shared a post on social media as well. I think other than just the realization, to say, okay, girl, you got to put on your big girl pants.
Yeah.
It's just such a norm that you literally have to sit back and go, shoo, it's been 10 years, right? This is my journey. And you can only, I suppose, contribute it to the grace of God.
Yeah.
It really, really is God's grace, because so much comes around having to do things and navigate things as a single parent. I don't know, perhaps you are a divorcee, maybe you're someone that's, being separated from your partner, maybe you now have to navigate co-parenting. But I think there is a huge amount of grace that comes with navigating, raising a child in a fatherless home. Let us know. 0617981075. We're chatting to Janine Liederman. She's live on Facebook. In fact, we're all live on Facebook and YouTube. Sorry, guys, I get so
No, it's fine. I'm gonna have a chance. That's okay. It's okay. I understand the dynamic that Domi and you have decided to exclude me from today, but it's okay. It's okay.
We do invite you to join in on the conversation. Perhaps you have had a journey. Maybe you want to honor a single mother that you know. Do so on 0617981075.
No, I'm only joking. I was actually telling Craig there are certain things that, sometimes if you're a facilitator, then you think you can tackle any topic. But there are just certain topics that you just will not have the inside knowledge to. And I don't have the knowledge of being a single mom or even being raised by a single mother. So it would be silly for me to sit here as an expert on the field. So that is why we have wonderful people that can share their insights. But I just want to share something silly. So Craig was helping out somewhere else, and I was getting ready to go to church. And before church, because the service was going to start at 11. So now before church, I will try and make the lunch for Sunday. Then I try and do a load of washing, and then, get the kids done and you get done. But normally Craig is there and he will hang the washing and and we both shouting at the kids there to get done. But this Sunday, obviously he wasn't there, but I allotted the normal 2 hours that I have normally. And I realized, oh my gosh, I must do all of these things by myself.
Yeah.
Or if he had to go to Joburg for work, and now I must take the kids to school, go fetch the kids from school. They must go here for dance and there, and then you must still do all the things that you normally do. And I was like, oh my word, how does single mothers do this every single day? And it's exactly what you said, Natasha. It is by the grace of God, because I felt so rushed. I felt so like, oh, now I'm going to be late for church and I must get the kids. I was like, wow, my hat goes off to every single mother. However you became a single mother, my hat, I salute you. I don't know how you do it. And here you sit, you are still able to have a career. You're still a businesswoman, Janine. You're still able to be a female and you're still doing things and you have to raise this child. So that leads me to the second question of what challenges or what is harder for you guys as single mothers as opposed to someone who has somebody on a daily basis? What makes it more challenging and harder? I know you've alluded to some of it, but just like sometimes the daily things, what makes it more challenging for a single mother? Janine, if you could give some light there.
There's a lot of challenges that you face as a single mom, and the biggest challenges is trying to kind of navigate everything and what you like. How do you fit everything in one day? How do you kind of get your kids, get the kids together, do what you need to do? I remember waking up in the morning, getting my son's lunches ready for school, and then having to make sure he's dressed, having to make sure that and then in the process of him throwing a tantrum because he doesn't want to get dressed, and then I have to calm that down because there's no support, no kind of assistance to help me with that. So there's all that, the process of not being able to call on someone and say, hey, can you step in here? Can you do something? You have to somewhat, and I think this is the difficulty of single moms is that we don't realize these challenges because we have to conform to them. We just have to make it work.
Absolutely.
Happen instead of trying to figure out what do we do. So we have to figure things out in every situation how we go and we don't. And this is such a powerful question because I really want mothers to think about it out there. What challenge do you actually have? Because we don't really understand the challenges we go through because it's such a norm of having to figure it out. Such a norm of trying to just put things together and make sure that everything is in place. So if there's a surfboard list or something, you need to go and figure out how to get that done and where to get it filled out so that your child can go to surfboard and collect. And the biggest challenge I think for a lot of moms is that your kids, what they go through, and where you land up at the end of the day, once they've settled down or gone to a nice farming space, you have to now sit and nurture your own emotions. We don't get to do that. Get the opportunity because we think if we do, our kids are going to think some sort of way.
Absolutely.
What are they going to feel? And oh no, they can't see us cry. They can't see us go through this because it's not like strong. So those are the challenges as a single mom that you have to look at when it comes to where do we find the time to just take a step. And I really, it's quite difficult.
I absolutely agree with you. I mean, you've touched on most of it, Janine. I think for me, and I think not just single mothers, but mothers in general, it's the guilt that comes with not, possibly being present, whether it's emotionally or physically, because as you mentioned, the show must go on, whether it's work, whether it's something else, but there's always something that you've kind of got to do. You're feeling this sense of guilt. Am I doing enough for my child? And it's even worse as a single parent because already the child is being raised, for lack of a better term, a lack of stability. And so you're having to equate, whatever time you have to make up for that lack of stability. But you touched on an important point, Janine, and this is something I'm experiencing very recently. I mean, I used to be that parent that would literally sit and I would be so upset with myself, and my daughter has never seen me cry. She's 10. She's only seen me cry, I think it was early this year, and she was sitting in the kitchen and I actually said to her, this is hard. This is really hard. And she literally wiped the tears from my face.
Oh my gosh.
And I said, am I doing a good job? Are you happy? And she goes, yes, I love you and you're doing a good job.
Oh my gosh.
And so I think that coming back to my point, we need to be a little bit kinder to ourselves.
Yes.
I think that is so important because you're being present and you're pouring into these souls who also haven't really asked for the situation.
100%.
You know, they find themselves in, again, for lack of a better word, broken homes, and you're just having to be kinder and provide that grace to yourself.
You know, I want to say something. Just as mothers, like you said, I'm grateful that I'm able to do. So if I'm stressed out, right? You can see. You will know
Yeah.
that I'm stressed out. So what I used to do was tell my daughter, it's fine, don't worry about it. So now what I do is I say, Sophie, mommy had a very bad day or something happened. Just give me a moment to figure it out. So she goes, okay, I'm allowed to have a bad day or a bad moment. And then I'm also allowed to ask for space, and then I'm allowed to bring myself towards myself.
Yeah.
And it's truly what we model for our kids. We don't always get it right.
Absolutely.
But if they see that we don't cry, they're not going to cry. If they see that we're not happy, they're not going to. It's not always what we say, it's what we do that they follow.
Yeah.
So it is beautiful that you allow yourself to be vulnerable in front of your kids. And they are amazing. They will come and they'll give you a hug and they'll say, it's okay, mom. You haven't failed them when they do that, man. It is now they are learning compassion in a way that you maybe never planned for, but they are still learning that thing. So we really need to give ourselves so much more grace as mothers, because we can only do so much.
Yeah.
And if you are a single mother, sometimes I think what happens is you think you need to fulfill the role of both.
Yeah.
And you can't, because you are not both. You need to fulfill the role that you have as best as you can, and then God will fill the rest, man. He's the father to the fatherless.
Sure.
And I know we say that and it sounds beautiful, but in practice, we sometimes don't allow him to be the father because we feel that we need to fill both of these roles all of the time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So read some messages that are coming through on the WhatsApp line. I'm just going to type a few, then I'll hand over to Tina to wrap up the question on that. So the first few messages I'm going to get to. First one's from Anonymous saying, hi there. My greatest challenge is that it's lonely, especially when things are not going according to plan. But thank you, God, for providing always. And so after that one, I've got another one coming through. It says, CCFM team. Today I am 6 years divorced. I'm a single mom to a 13-year-old. It's very hard, extremely challenging, but God, He gives me supernatural strength and grace to all moms. And I think I've got one as well that I'm just going to touch into before we cross over to you before the long question before saying, hi, I'm Elise Fisher, single mom of 3 daughters. Here's a bit of my story. I've been a single mom for almost 11 years. Now it was a big change for me after being married for 18 years. The money part was really hard. With just one income instead of 2, I had to find a way to pay for everything. We went from having plenty to sometimes not even having enough food. A lot of my family and friends stopped coming around, probably because they were worried that I asked them for help. It ended up being just me and my kids.
Sure.
I had to work overtime to make up for the lost income, which meant I had less time with my kids. Continuing further and saying, on top of working full time, I was also studying.
Sure.
I even had to breastfeed while doing assignments. My older kids had to start helping out a lot with the cooking and the cleaning around the house because I was trying to do too much and ended up being completely worn out. I had a breakdown where I could barely function or take care of my kids. And during that time, I didn't have any friends or family to help. All I could say was, please help me, Jesus.
Sure.
And He did. Within a few weeks, I was able to plan my daughter's 21st birthday, and then 3 days before, God healed me as well. This was a turning point for me. In late 2019, I moved to Cape Town. I finished my degree. I became a life coach, and I also published a book. In 2022, I started also a magazine where moms can share their stories and be a part of a community called Working Mama.
You know, if I had like pom-poms here to just go like, oh my word. It's like, I want to sit and cry because it could have been so different.
Absolutely.
And God, she allowed God to change your heart and
Yeah.
look at the victory that she's walking in now. Oh my gosh, well done.
Absolutely.
Oh, that was such a nice one.
This resonated with me so much. I know we're running out of time and I'm going to go to, but I say, Elise, bless you, bless you. This is, I mean, you mentioned, that you cried out to God. I remember when my daughter was 2, and I had obviously learned of the separation, and I cried and I said, Lord, I can't do it alone.
Yes.
And so I totally understand what it is that you went through, even talking about managing to do a degree, managing to write a book. That's just the thing.
I mean,
A grace that just it surpasses all understanding, And so, bless you, Elise. Thank you for sharing.
super woman. I mean, come on.
Keep sending through those messages on 0617981075 and we'll get to them soon. If you can, send a voice note as well. If you can, text as well. Quick ad break, and then when we come back, we'll finish off the conversation.
Galaxy AI is here. Circle to search the latest tech for your business with the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra. Get it now on a 1.5.
Welcome back to the CCFM Drive. Beautiful conversations. Of course, in the month of May, still celebrating mothers and all the joy that comes with it.
Yes. Now, I know sometimes being a single mother can seem not seem hard. It is hard, right? So we don't only want to talk about the challenges. I mean, we are sitting in studio with 2 amazing young gentlemen.
Yes.
One amazing studio, Romeo.
No
I
bias.
have to say it. I have to.
Am I the young
I've
one?
signed. Oh no. So, and what is beautiful is both of you are products being raised by a single mother.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you guys are like superstars. So, tell us a little bit, like 1 minute, about how it was like for you, or whatever you want to share about being raised by a single mother. Because I think the 2 of you turned out pretty amazing.
Wow, thank you so much. I think I'll start, Craig, for us. Just pave the way for you.
No, let the young one go first.
Listen, my mom did an absolutely amazing job, under the circumstance, because I was still a bit young. So I kind of understood what was happening, until I grew up, and then I just found out, oh, okay, so it was actually separation, divorce, and everything that happened. But the role that she played, she had to play a dual role in that situation and through that circumstance. And she filled that gap so well, that there were even times where I even forgot, about that. That's how brilliantly she had played the role. But that meant as well, because you're playing that role, you have to take on 2 roles. That means sometimes you'd even have to become more stricter than what she would have, if she was on her own, operating, on her own. But the fact that she had to do that, she still had to raise us, was amazing. And I think I can resonate a lot when you mentioned the thing of grace. It is the grace and the strength of God. My mother relied fully on God, so much so that I even learned about the Father through her. And what an amazing experience that was. At school, I was called a mama's boy because I was so close to my mom because of that. But I wouldn't trade it, because of the lessons that
Yeah.
I've learned with her and the amount of respect and love that I have for her. And it's definitely through the lessons because the father was the father. It was through the lessons that we learned through God
Yeah.
that she was able to discipline us. Because many a times we find, especially when you look outside, a lot of your peers or everything else, they're offside. By offside, I mean they're involved in heavy things.
Yeah.
Yes.
Some are in prison, some this has happened,
Yeah.
and my mom would warn us so much from that. So it was definitely God's hand in that involvement as well that really, helped shape me personally as the type of person that I am today. And so thankful as well
Sure.
for that role, even though there was that gap, of a father figure present there, but it was filled so well, with the involvement of God in my life
Yeah.
and just turning out right now how I am. And the amount of respect that I also have as well
Yeah.
for females was instilled because I grew
Sure.
up in a house. It was me and my brother, but we just grew up, with it was just females.
Yeah.
So we learned that it made us a little bit lazy at certain departments.
We need to
That's
speak
another
about that.
conversation.
Oh, we need to speak about that.
But in terms of just highlighting that,
Yeah.
definitely so grateful to have a mother who believed in God. That was
Sure.
the turning point. Had she not believed in the father, it would have turned out differently.
Sure.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Brother Craig.
Yeah, look,
Brother Craig.
no, look, mine is similar. I think I'm also a mommy's boy, and I think we don't have to look at it as a negative. Don't be lazy though, guys. So I think what I'm just trying to say to the ladies, have some grace for that as well. But I mean, what you guys were saying, and I was thinking about it today in hindsight now, looking back at it, like my mom would still sometimes ask me, "Are you is your life fine?" And all the things that happened. And I was also, I mean, my parents got divorced when I was about 9, 10, and it was us then living together and it's my brother, and I was the elder. So all the things that you guys spoke about, from a personal point of view, asking yourself, look, not good enough. There's some trust things on your side. Now, as a mother, you're not projecting that you're trying not to project to your kids or anything like that, but you have those fears, you have those issues, you have those insecurities from being single and sometimes what's associated with it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I always think about that. And my mom is always like, I gave you such a, junk life and all that stuff. But it was, it wasn't about even, financially, maybe it wasn't all great. That's fine. Socially, sometimes, being as, my father's not maybe there with us, and you're a divorced child, and you're in a space with other kids and things like that. Emotion as well affects you in some ways. But like Ramo said, you wouldn't trade it for anything, man, because my mom also got to know the Lord during that time that she was single. So I was in and out of church in that time, but she just taught me so much just about perseverance, man.
Sure.
And Tina always says, you like your mother, you'll go speak to anyone and whatever. But it is because I spent lots of time with my mom, and she's very humble, very, very soft spoken. You'd love her, everybody would love her. And
Shout out Heather
yeah,
Lucas.
and I mean, she's done missions and she's just amazing. So, and that's despite what was also thrown to her in her space in life. So, yeah, big shout out to the mothers.
Awesome.
We need a part 2 for this because we
Clearly,
have an
clearly.
abundance of messages coming through, and we can't get into it, not just because of time. But I want to say thank you, Janine, for just your vulnerability as well and sharing your story. Just as a word of closing, I think to mothers out there, single mothers in particular, what would you like to say?
I think the one thing I really want to say to single moms out there is give yourself more credit for what you do. You put in enough work. Doubt will always creep in and make you question what you're doing. But don't let that doubt. Look at your actions and kind of do a tick box to it. Do a tick box to say, this is what I've done, this is how I've done it, and I've done it to the best of my ability. Because you make a change, you make a difference, and every little bit you do shows within what your kids are doing and where you are going as well.
Absolutely.
Beautifully said.
Thank you, Janine. Thank you, everyone, for this conversation. I'm so glad that it's on Facebook. I'm so glad it's on YouTube. You can always refer back. But I certainly think we need to continue having such conversations. But I think in this month, as mentioned, we were celebrating mothers. If you were listening, we're celebrating different mothers. We're not leaving out any mothers. And so today, just focusing really the role of single mothers in particular. And so we're just so thankful for this grace. Again, that word comes to mind. Grace that surely surpasses all understanding. Grace that is natural.
Yes.
And so we love you. We appreciate you. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Cheers to mothers.
Cheers
the
to
mothers.
you, Natasha Kumalo.
Thank you.
Cheers to you, Janine Liebman.
Thank you
Cheers
so
to
much.
all our mothers. We actually are going to try and get to as many messages as we can as the program continues. But thank you so much for connecting with us. Any last words quickly on your side? Talk time with Tina.
No, honestly, for the first time, I think I have said enough. And I think, no, I honestly think what has been said was just beautiful. It's honestly, I want to echo what Janine says. Give yourself just a little more credit. Just give yourself more credit than you're not getting 2 out of 10. You're actually passing. I think you're actually by that A grade, that 80%, and you just don't know because you're in the thick of it all the time.
Yeah.
You feel like you're in the trenches. But you're laying the foundation. I mean, look at Romeo and Craig. Come on.
And that's how we wrap it up on the program today. Thank you so much for tuning in for this segment, Talk Time with Tina. We're going to be going to a quick song break. Coming through, it's CC Wine and Really Forever. It's going to be taking us to the top of the hour with the news with Larry Wannenberg Solomon.
This is the CCFM Drive with Natasha and Romeo. Natasha and Romeo.